Well, hey, Amanda, thanks for talking with me tonight. I'm excited for you to share your story, your journey of becoming who God is making you to be. So, first, as we kick this off, why don't you share, who is Amanda?
I would love to, and thank you so much for having me. My name is Amanda. I'm currently the communications director at Barefoot Church, 21 years old, absolutely love my life. I'm a little bit of an athlete when it comes to volleyball, and just love fitness, love cooking, which is equal loves of my life, I guess. Also just love music. I play a little bit of guitar. I've been singing for a long time. It's just a few things that I do. I'm really kind of nerdy, and hopefully I'm a lot of fun to be around. That's what I hear. So I enjoy being Amanda. And that's a little bit about me.
Well, you look like a blast from Instagram. And fun fact for everybody watching this right now, Amanda and I have never even met in person yet.
No.
We legitimately met on Twitter. We both of our churches work with one of the same designers, and I saw Justin tweeting with Amanda. I was like, "Who is this girl? I need to know her, obviously." And then we just became friends.
Pretty sure you just favorited my tweet, and I was like, "Oh, who's she?" And then we just kind of cyber stalked each other for a few minutes, and it was friendship at first tweet.
Exactly. I love that. Friendship at first tweet.
It's real.
So, but the ironic thing is, I was on the East Coast, moved to the West Coast. You were on the West Coast and moved to the East Coast. What took you east?
It's crazy. We just switched sides. My family is still in Cali. Is actually where I'm from, Cali. Kind of the Central Valley area, San Joaquin Valley. And I had actually planned my whole life to move there to work with dolphins for marine science. Lo and behold, my dad got relocated through work to California. So every mom's dream. And I finished middle school and high school in Cali. Senior year, we are told to find colleges. And I discovered the shocking realization that there was only one college in Cali that had large marine mammal programs. And there's only 7 in the US. Some of them were in Maine. No offense to Maine people. It was just way too cold for me to work with dolphins there. There was Hawaii, which was really far to travel. There was Florida, and I was like, oh, good vacation spot. Don't want to move there. And I'm just looking for a school. So it actually came down between North Carolina and South Carolina. And Coastal Carolina, which is located in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, their application fee was actually less. So I just picked that as my backup school and got accepted to both. When financial aid rolled around, I actually got 0 from the state of California and 0 from UC Santa Cruz, which must have been a God thing because I, worked very hard throughout school to get really, really good placement or whatever and did a lot of extracurriculars. And so that was a lot of shell shock for me. I was did not understand what was up with that or how that was even possible. But when Coastal got back to me, they had actually offered me some financial aid through an honors program. So I was like, okay, God, I guess you made that pretty clear. I guess I'm relocating. And my parents were like, this is nuts. We moved to California just for you to move across the country to South Carolina. Doesn't even make sense. It's great. So I moved across the country, packed up my stuff, drove with my dad, moved into college, and started my journey. Ended up finding a church called Barefoot Church in North Myrtle Beach. It was about 30 minutes away from the college. And just started going there, started kind of meeting some people. And it was actually I had just showed up, and then it was winter break. So I left for home and then came back in the spring, started going again, finally started getting plugged into the worship team and meeting some people. And then before you knew it, the semester was over. Campus Outreach had a program called Project that they did where they dump college kids, take them from one city, put them in another city, hook them all up with some random jobs, and then anytime you're not working your full-time job, you're getting hardcore discipled in missions, stewardship, prayer, Bible study, all these awesome things. So it's a crash course and all that for 10 weeks. So I prayed through it, and I was like, okay, I'm going for this project thing. So left North Myrtle Beach to go to Panama City Beach, Florida, and God opened up the door for me not to work at Taco Bell or Burger King or Waffle House like some of my peers were, but actually nailing the best marine science job you could have ever had on this project, where I was one of 3 people who got to work at the state park. So they've got an incredible like snorkel area. There were like dolphin tour jet skis, like full hookup. And I like to equate that to the story in the Bible where the first disciples were called, because it was right after their greatest catch in like all time, their entire career, where Jesus was like, I want you to drop your nets and follow me. Like, drop what you've ever known your whole life and follow me. Because I got back to school, like, as an RA, moved in, was going to call, like, going to classes like the following Monday. And God was like, you're going into full-time ministry. And I was like, what? He created this like urgency within me that was like, no, like, you're going into ministry very soon. And I was like, end of the semester, like end of the year, how long do I have? And I just would not like listen to how urgent he was really telling me that he meant to step into it, until I got called into the financial aid office. And they said, hey, this tax went up or whatever on out-of-state tuition, so you're like X amount of dollars short for your semester that starts next week. And I'm like, okay, God made that pretty clear, like all a mess, just realizing that it's like all over. And I'm kind of like, okay, God, now's the time. I'm going to ministry. Like, I get it. And as soon as I like come to terms with that within myself, I get called back in, and they're like, hey, we worked something out. Like, if you want to go back, like, I know that you just said this isn't possible, but if you wanted to, we can make something work. Wow. And I'm like, God, like, what do you want me to do? I don't understand. So I left the office just a wreck. Like, I'm like talking to people, like telling them my situation, like, I don't know what to do, and this is like so stressful. And then like God silenced all the noise, all the worries, all the fears, all the confusion, like literally all the voices in my head and all the just the noise was silenced. And he spoke very clearly into my life in that moment that he didn't want me making this decision on financial lack or any kind of lack, but out of a place where where I'm following the desires and the passions that he had placed in my life in that time to be able to pursue that. Wow. And I realized that like what I loved with marine science had not changed, but it was like he showed me something so much greater in the potential to step into ministry that I couldn't like go down. I could, and it would be okay, but it'd be like mediocre. Like I would miss something. So it just was this drawing, like, okay, I'm going into ministry. I started interning at Barefoot under just kind of like a miscellaneous, like, what can you do? I can work a camera, I can tweet some stuff, like, I can smile at people. Like, I just was figuring it out. About 10 months through this internship, I actually got brought on full-time as staff as our communications director.
That is so cool. I love your journey and just how
crazy.
I mean, yeah, it's cool to look back on every piece and you just see God's hand on all of it.
Oh my gosh. And all the little details, like I wish I should write a book or something. It's just amazing how God brought every detail into play to be able to just really walk that out in my life.
So since you took that call to ministry and you stepped out, you're working now, what is the biggest thing you've learned since that time?
Oh my goodness. And this is still something that I am constantly learning, and I think I will be, but it looks different at every stage. I really think that like it's easy to see a big picture of something and then just want it, like right like that. Like I don't know about you, but I'm like a vision person as far as like my strength. So I'll see like the big picture, and if there's a disconnect between where I am and where I think like it should be, or where I think that God showed me it should be, I will try to connect all the dots and maybe move a little too quick, or try to make some things happen, or place my hope into like an opportunity or a project that wasn't for me, was not my assignment, but I'm trying to connect dots. So I think God's really just been teaching me over and over again in every area, patience and resting in the process, and just really trusting. And it's not a rest like I'm going to just like be lazy and just kind of cruise through the process. It's just like fully leaning on God's plan and God's ability to bring you from where you are to where that dream is, whether it's a dream for your career or your personal life, or just any aspect. It's so easy to be restless in the disconnect, but just trusting fully that along the process he's building things into you to get you there.
That's good. That's really good stuff. You know, we're talking about this journey of becoming who God made you to be. If there was one thing that you could share with other people who are on their own becoming journeys, what would that be?
I think this goes kind of hand in hand with, what God's brought me through in my leadership journey. But it's kind of a specific thing that God's just been repeating to me through scripture over and over and over again. And there's a couple scriptures in Isaiah that have this kind of key phrase, but I want to go to Isaiah 32:17. And it says, like, in quietness and confidence is your strength. And you should check it out. Actually, the whole scripture is really cool. That's just a little piece of it, because that caught me. Like, obviously, I'm not exactly, like, quiet. So I was like, okay, what kind of quietness is this? Because quietness and confidence to me, like, it was an interesting pairing of words. And so I did a study on, just kind of looked up, Googled it, on what the original meaning of those two words were. And it's because I want the strength that comes from that. And so quietness is actually defined as like a peace, a rest, like a stillness. I think of like, be still and know that I am God. And that is just like coming to a place where like your mind is at peace and your heart is at peace and you can fully rest or lean upon what God is doing. And then confidence is actually like a boldness, but also being carefree or careless and secure, just knowing that he's got it. I think there's a really cool verse. It's in the Message translation, but it says like, yeah, we can live carefree before God because he is most careful with us. And I love that when I think about that verse, because it's really like living out of a place where you know that God's got it, like you're secure in it. You can rest in the process.
That is good stuff. Oh my goodness. You could write like a whole book on that.
Maybe one day, like who knows? I don't know. But there's, I don't know, you draw strength from that. Like when we can continually go back to it, like no matter what's going on, no matter if we're like confused about if we made a wrong decision, or like we're not sure where to go next, or there's that disconnect, that restlessness between where we want to be. It's just going back to that place of like, okay, God, like I'm at peace knowing that you got this and I'm free to live a life of confidence. Then that's strengthening. Like it allows you to do the mighty, amazing things that he has for you. So I'm continually reminded to go back to that every moment of every day. And I just hope others are too.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that too. And thanks for taking the time to share your journey, your story of becoming the Amanda that God made you to be.
Thank you for the
I've loved getting to know you, and I can't wait to meet up in person one of these
days. I know, it's going to be great. That's awesome.
Amanda.